Hi, folks. How you doing? WrestleTrueResults303.com. Check out the website. Link in the description box. Mind, body, spirit, fitness. Putting the healing back in health. Coming at you today with a video about death. Right? We all fear death because we know it's coming. And of course, as we get older, we we really start to fear it, and then you have like a midlife crisis and all these other crazy things that happen to us as we journey into old age. And when I went on my spiritual retreat like a month and a half ago, this was brought up by one of the priests during one of our classes, one of our discussions. And I think it made perfect sense. They kind of joke around how they say we, we come out of the womb as babies and we're dependent on everybody. They have to change our diapers, and then, you can't walk, and then it just kind of goes up. You peak and then you come back down. And the same thing happens when you're about to die. You usually can't walk. People are pushing you in a wheelchair. Someone has to change your diaper. Someone has to give you a bath. So it's kind of like that full circle. We start and then we're ending pretty much where we start. And when I listen to a lot of my health podcasts and do some of my research, a lot of people say they want to be healthy because they don't want to be a burden to their loved ones in old age. And I can see that, but in a way it doesn't make sense in this aspect that I'm going to go with here about death and what was discussed on that retreat. So the priest was saying that he was doing another spiritual retreat and he was chatting with a group, and it was a lady, and she said, I think the reason why we die, or what I have learned, I think is what his exact words were, what I have learned in old age, because of course, like I said, life's not as fast paced as it was. You start to slow down. You can't even walk as fast. Everything slows down and comes to a halt. And she said, I think it's my job, or God's way of telling me that it's my time finally to appreciate the finer things in life and appreciate those around me more, and to realize that others need to help me. Because a lot of the older people that I talk to or that I have trained, they all say that I needed me time. I was too busy giving, 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 and never taking. And they decide to go into personal training because they need to work on themselves, right? They need time for themselves. All they've done is give and have never given anything and never gotten anything in return. So I think that's the beauty of death. Once I hear this, life is so hectic. We neglect those around us because we need money, or we think we need money. We over purchase houses and cars and things like that. So we have to work even more. Then we neglect our children, and we don't even get to, you know, uh, to know our children's lives and what's going on in their lives because we're too busy working. And so like I said, I come from a broken home, but even though there are people who are married, those children can still suffer from their parents not being around because they're stuck having to work, and they can't even be around their children because they're too busy trying to make money because they think that's going to make them happy, right? So there's those kids, unfortunately, are still in a home where the parents not even around. And I think that's the beauty of death. It allows us to realize that no, we need to learn how to receive. And what is God? He's all loving. He's gonna be there for you to give you what you need. And I think that's what it is. It's teaching us how to receive right before we die. So when we do die, we'll be able to receive God's love and whatever He's going to give us. It gives us that understanding that it's not about us, you know. And once we meet God, we're going to have a better understanding of why the whole process of life and death comes into play. Now, on the concept of I don't want to be a burden to those around me, I think, of course, we don't want to be a burden to those, financially and things like that. And here in America and in the Western civilization, we are a society where we just kind of throw our parents in a home and hey, it is what it is. So yeah, we are a financial burden. But when it comes to these older societies and these older, nations in Asia and things like that, they actually house their families. And it's not a bad thing, right? It's not bad to live with your parents or your parents to live with you because it's just the way it is. They respect their elders. That's something that we have lost. But I think that might be another reason why they're a little more peaceful, maybe, or calm. Because, yes, it might be a burden, but at that time frame when these things are happening, it gives you the ability to say, hey, I need to slow down. Work isn't as important. I need to be there for my father, for my mother, for my grandparents. You need to slow down your life and realize it isn't about you. And I think that's what death of a loved one helps you to do. Because I was that person where it's like, oh, they're in the hospital, man, I gotta work. Sorry, I gotta work. When my dad passed away this July, 5 months ago, I took almost 2-3 weeks off of work just to sit with him. And that 2-3 weeks was the most I had ever spent with my father at one time. That 2-3 weeks is the most time I'd ever spent with my father compared to the rest of my life, of the rest of the 30 some years. To me, I think it was the most valuable time that I had spent with my father, and I was able to reconnect with family because of the father issues that I had had. I had really neglected family as well, so it's just a really great experience. I was very sad. I didn't think I was going to be when he passed, but it helped me. It was a great experience. I'm closer with some of my family members. Unfortunately, that side of my family is kind of degrading and falling away from each other. But what can you do? But for me, it was a healing experience, and it brought me back to my family. And I think that's what we've got to realize, that this trying to live forever and things like that, I think it really takes out the meaning of what life is. I think death is a valuable part of life, and it in itself can be a valuable learning experience, whether it be for ourselves or for those around us. When my dad passed away, we were listening to the radio when we took him fishing the day before he died, and that song was about a guy who had cancer and was dying, but having cancer and dying is some country song. And he said it was the greatest thing, the greatest thing that ever happened to him. Because now he said he wished everybody lived like they were dying, or something along those lines. But it was great. It was a great song. It actually gave me that day, that last day with my father, actually gave me an appreciation for country music, So, like I said, just some food for thoughts on death and the beauty of it, if we're willing to truly accept it and not be afraid of it. So once again, I hope this helps. Subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.